Hello, everyone, and good evening. My name is Gio Darder, founder of Copper Bridge Foundation, and I welcome you to our online presentation on AIA COD Brazil 2024 on Brazilian modern architecture. At Copper Bridge Foundation, our mission is to promote cultural exchange through the medium of artistic expression, creating a cross-cultural understanding and appreciation through architecture exploration and exchange. We believe that architecture has the power to tell stories, connect people, and inspire positive change. We're privileged to share this presentation with you today and hope it sparks your curiosity and passion for Brazilian architecture. Now I'd like to introduce to you our esteemed chair for this presentation, Susan Chin, FAIA Honor ASLA, Principal of Design Connects, is an accomplished architect with expertise in preservation, cultural facilities, public spaces, and urban design. She is 2024 chair for AIA Committee on Design, and recently was named by the US State Department as a co-commissioner of the US Pavilion at the 2025 Venice Architectural Biennale with University of Arkansas, Fay Jones School of Architecture and Design, and Crystal Bridge Museum of Architecture and Art. With that said, I'd like to introduce you now to architect Susan Chen.
Thank you, Gio, and welcome. As Gio says, I'm the 2024 chair of Committee on Design. Well, what is Committee on Design? It's one of the 21 knowledge communities of the American Institute of Architects, and we're the only KC focused specifically on design with a big D and a small d. COD organizes 2 conferences a year, a domestic and an international conference to experience great design with close friends and colleagues. Our fall conference in Brazil will be a fabulous experience. So thank you, Gio. Next. So here is our preview of COD's conference in Brazil. We'll visit Sao Paulo, Brasilia, and Rio de Janeiro from October 17 to the 26th, from October 17 to the 26th, 2024, and if you've already registered, we look forward to an amazing program, earning at least 50 learning units. And if you haven't, we have a few more slots open, so please join us. Marisol? Yeah, so this gives you a little preview of what we'll see. So for my theme, Connecting Cultures and Catalyzing Change, I was inspired by 2 very different and often overlooked regions of the world, Northwest Arkansas and Brazil. You probably ask, what do they have in common? So I'll tell you. Northwest Arkansas, in America's heartland, is where my husband's, Charles McKinney's father, was a mayor, where we now own a home and have been very active with the University of Arkansas, Fay Jones School, and in the region. Our spring conference of 100 attendees saw how entrepreneurship, culture, and Ozarks hospitality, with an emphasis on hospitality and a culture of caring, have driven growth in the region. Here you see the work of 2 gold medal winners from Northwest Arkansas, Fay Jones, FAIA, and Marlon Blackwell, FAIA, Thorn Crown Chapel on your left, and Thaden School on your right, which we visited. Next. And Brazil, in the global south. Charles, my husband, and myself, we lectured in 2016 at SESC Sao Paulo and Escola das Cidades international seminar on free space. It was life-changing, seeing how Brazilian design, social infrastructure benefit society and add to Brazil's vibrancy and the life of the people. In Brazil this October, we'll examine how place-based form of design thinking are catalyzed by Brazilian culture and empathy. Next, we'll explore both classic Brazilian modern architecture and its global, this is illustrating vibrancy. Okay, Marisol, I think, next. Next. Okay. We'll explore both classic Brazilian modern architecture and its global reach. We'll examine infrastructure. Can you just scroll through, Marisol? We'll examine infrastructure. We'll experience the importance of landscape, and we'll meet and hear from renowned contemporary Brazilian architects, planners, and developers to exchange ideas on how design catalyzes change for society and also become friends and colleagues. It's now my, scroll through, Brasilia, landscape, and Rio. Ah, no, go back, go back. Maybe just stop on Rio. Oh, okay, you like Brasilia. Okay, it's now my honor to introduce my dear friend and partner in Brazil, Cristiane Muniz, founding partner of Una Arquitectos and Una Muniz Viegas in Sao Paulo, where she is also Dean of the Escola da Cidade and recently taught at Harvard Graduate School of Design, and she's lectured widely. Chris, I turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Susan. I'm so glad to be here. I'm trying now to share my screen. Let's see this. Okay. Can you see this? Yeah? Good. Let's see. So, Susan, I'm so glad to be here. I thank you very much for our friendship and this invitation. And also, I would like to congratulate all these people working for this Brazil conference in 2024 and organizing this trip to Brazil. So, let's see here. I'm trying to change. Okay. You are going to visit an amazing city. It's vibrant, it's lively. Sao Paulo has, as Susan said, a heritage on modern architecture that drew everyone. We inherited these impressive great works by architects like Oscar Niemeyer and Lina Bobardi, and Lina here, Sesc Pompeia, and Paulo Mendes da Rocha, and Eurico Prado Lopes Luiz Teles, and Vila Nova Artigas, for example. This one, Vila Nova Artigas, designed and conceived the educational program for the School of Architecture and Urbanism at the University of Sao Paulo, where we graduated, me and Vinicius. Artigas never separated practice from teaching. And this lesson was followed by many of us in Sao Paulo. And the city, this one, has a geography, I would like to say that to you, made up of many small slopes, a sea of hills. This is the skyline of Paulista Avenue, a geographical watershed in the city. And Sao Paulo developed its shape in the 20th century. It had expanded from just 200,000 inhabitants to 22 million in 100 years. So the city center used to have this appearance, a city of taipa, and then became a city of bricks and the metropolis that we face nowadays. It concentrates the greatest wealth and deep urgent needs in Brazil. I'm an architect, an urbanist, head of Una Muniz Viegas, with Fernando Viegas, my partner, working together for almost 35 years together. And we started as Una Arquitetos, and now I'm going to show you a glimpse of what we have done over these years. The Post Office Cultural Center came across by winning a national competition in the 90s. We believe that our job in the 21st century is to redo things, buildings. In other words, we need to know that the planet cannot bear another 20th century. Finite resources require different behavior. At the same time, we should take advantage of everything we have already built. The post office headquarters was designed in 1918. The historical importance of the building is increased due to its urban location. It became a remarkable element in the landscape of, this is good to say this, in the landscape of Anhangabaú, the name of the valley around in the center of the city, which the city was where the city was born. We kept the main agency on the ground floor, and the remaining 4 stories were planned for cultural uses. Lifting the eclectic building, the new plazas connect the different entrances. This other work combines renovation of a historical building with extension of public spaces through new welcome areas inside the court. Maria Antônia Street is a reference for the University of São Paulo and a landmark in the cultural and political city life. However, after a violent invasion of the complex by students of Mackenzie University, attended by the police in 1968, murdering a student, during the right-wing military dictatorship in Brazil, the college were transferred to other campuses, and the buildings have been closed for almost 30 years. In 2000, we started designing the restoration to adapt the set to a new use, a center of contemporary art, workshops, music, university, theater. The central idea is to declare the memory of and the public dimension that historically named the heritage. The strategy is to propose a new relation of these buildings with the city, a vacant area, kind of abandoned, between the 2 buildings facing the street, 5 meters below, gains dimension of public space, a small square. At street level, this square is the natural enlargement of sidewalk and configures an inviting access to the hall. At lower level, a green patio connects the 2 buildings, creating a place for outdoor performances and an extension of cafeteria and theater. The idea is a new construction within the existing building. This one is a public school that aims to provide urbanity to a new equipment in a neighborhood far from everything. This project integrates a pilot program for construction of public schools. The proposal was to raise the quality of projects and mainly the construction of the buildings from a structural system in precast concrete. Works were very quick. Everything was ready in 8 months. Campinas is 100 kilometers far from Sao Paulo. This project this is a new one, was an exercise to combine different construction systems, aiming to tread gently on this ground. Gabion walls were used to rearrange the levels and topographic landworks, usually coming from the general urbanization. A new block of infrastructure and facilities was made in concrete and folded to define the vertical tower at the end of the set. And the main structure is made entirely of laminated and glued wood, renewable, industrialized, low carbon footprint. The three systems fit to their functions, form a set in which architecture also builds the landscape. And this is the last one. Cities are constituted mainly by innumerable and anonymous buildings that defines, and you are going to see this in Sao Paulo, that defines the urban space. This is an opportunity to draw up what refers to the rule of the city constitution, not its exception, making a statement about this occupation. This one is located in a central area of Sao Paulo, surrounded by facilities and transport services. Tall buildings that produce some slots could allow enjoyment of distant views surround the new building. Proposed scheme was based on a structure able to alternate opening directions of apartments, guaranteeing best guidelines for all, views, aeration, and sunlight. Taking advantage of the 2 meters difference existing on the street, there is an access underneath and other one on the next level, both directly from the street, creating an elevated ground floor. Concrete structure is peripheral, allowing different arrangements for the apartments. The uncovered concrete was proposed to reduce costs and maintenance with facade cladding, and was built very, very quickly with the execution of one floor every week with a system of industrial concrete formworks. Frontal building setback required by urban regulation in Sao Paulo was incorporated as a garden that offers itself to the city. Horizontal construction itself establishes the building limit of the street. This strategy can be imagined as a systemic in a metropolis whose current model are isolated towers in their small plots, forming a giant monofunctional city. This proposed deployment respects neighbors as it preserves adequate distances. In practice, an opposite operation to the generic design stamped on any site without qualities. And in this last picture, we can see Nelson Con. I love this picture. The photographer, a great photographer, with the curtains down in the apartment. I hope we can meet in person here in Sao Paulo and that you enjoy this trip. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. That was great. Now I would like to introduce Vinicius Andrade, founding partner of Andrade Moratim, Arquitectos Asociados. He is taught at the University of Brás Cubas and at Escola da Cidade. Andrade also serves as a vice president of the Brazilian Institute of Architects, or IAB, similar to the AIA, in the Sao Paulo department. Thank you. Vinicius.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you very much. Thank you all, guys. It's a pleasure and honor to be here with you all, and also with Chris, which I met just yesterday. We were working together in issues related to the Escola da Cidade. So thank you very much for the invitation. Well, I'm going also to share my screen. It's all set, you can see. Okay, I'm gonna speak briefly in regard of the office, which I am a partner. It's called Andrade Moretti Arquitetos, and this is our office. Gio and Jason have been here a few weeks ago in this space. It's interesting because Chris' offices and myself, it's located very close one to each other because we are in a neighborhood called Vila Buarque, where there's a lot of architectural offices. It's a kind of natural cluster. So we have, in this picture below, we have the Institute of Architects of Brazil, the IAB, that Susan just said. And we have this kind of hype place where architects create their own small offices. And this list here is the small offices of architects, younger architects that used to work in partnership with us. I mean, each one of our projects is developed with a partnership with another architecture office. And usually they are younger and have smaller offices. They are beginning on their career. So we create this partnership that I believe it's very important for both sides. And for us, it's been very refreshing to work always with younger architects. And it has been very facilitated because of the neighborhood we are in. Now I'm going to show you one project that I believe you should visit here in Sao Paulo. And if you decide to visit this building, I'll be there to talk to you. So, which is a cultural institute called Instituto Moreira Salles, which is located in Paulista Avenue, which is it's among one of the most important avenues in São Paulo city. And when we say avenues here, we are probably talking about our most important spaces for leisure and socializing too. Just it's not like just mobility. This is the São Paulo map. As Chris was saying, it's a huge area. Have like 21 to 22 million inhabitants. And I'd like to spot this place here in the center of the urban footprint. We can see this red line here is it's to indicate cross section made in 52 by a very famous geological researcher here in Sao Paulo, where we can see that Sao Paulo, very different from Rio, which we saw the pictures with the seaside, the coast. Sao Paulo, it's away from the sea. I mean, it's located and it's a center area in the continent. So because of that, we have this condition where our landscape it's related more for an inner view than big places by the seaside or whatever. So we have the two main rivers where the city was founded. And the middle of it, in the edge, in the creek, we have Avenida Paulista. That's what we saw in this picture here. Avenida Paulista is at the peak of São Paulo. So why is it so important to locate here? Because I'm going to show this institute, which is located at Avenida Paulista. And maybe the explanation the leitmotif of the building is tightly connected to the idea of understanding this place. Now, this is Avenida Paulista on weekdays, but Avenida Paulista has another feature when on the weekends or by night. As I was saying, in Sao Paulo, we don't have the beach, the seaside, so socializing and big parades, they used to happen on the avenues. And Avenida Paulista is a place where it's a very clear feature. It's also a bohemian place to be by night. And this is the map of Avenida Paulista. We see here in this tiny red square, the very last plot in the avenue. So this is the plot the Institute achieved for the construction site for the building. It's a place very well served by public transportation. So it's in terms of urbanization and environment, it's really a very special place for us who lives in Sao Paulo. It has also, besides being a financial center, Avenida Paulista has also another complementary vocation because of the presence of important cultural institutes. Maybe a few of the most important cultural institutes of the Sao Paulo are aligned along the Avenida Paulista. This is, for instance, talking about modern architecture in Sao Paulo. We have the Casper Libero Foundation of the 66, where there is a movie theater and also a university, and they have this connection with Avenida Paulista, which was very inspiring for us when we were thinking on how should we design our building in terms of connection with this public realm of the avenue. They have these big stairs where people can achieve access to the building, but also it became a place to stay, for socializing along the avenue. We have also this building, which was formerly built in 79 by Rino Levi, another big name of modern architecture in Brazil. And then it was refurbished in 1908 by Paulo Mendes da Rocha, where this cultural space was created on the basement in a very peculiar solution where he was working with displacing the ground floor level, so creating this condition where the visitor was always watching the Avenida Paulista and what's going on, but at the same time, he was kind of protected from the movement of the street. And of course, MASP Museum, designed by Lina Bobardi from 47, which have this very strong statement, urban statement, creating this free square where from the avenue you can reach the promenade, looking down the valley of 9 de Julho. It was very strong decision on design. We have also Conjunto Nacional, which is a multi-purpose building from 66, from the architect, designed by the architect David Lebeskin, which has this, it's all set, you can see, he took whole square and was able to connect the streets and creating a public passage through the building. So we have this tiny plot for building the institute, and we were trying to figure out how can we create something inspired by this modern presence at the Avenue from those cultural institutes. And at the end, we thought that we should create a second entrance level, which will allow the ground floor to be free for allow the people to get into the plot, and then turn the fifth floor into the actual entrance of the institute. So this way we were able also to solve a problem, because it's difficult to think on a museum in a vertical building. Then we thought that if the distribution hall were in the middle of the building, it will be easier to visit the museum in a walkable distance. I mean, from there you can step up for the exhibition halls and down for the media library, administration, and so on. So because of that, the building and with this shape, we used this escalator as an express transportation from the ground level straight to the elevated piazza. So we got this kind of connection, and also on a lift, which should work as an express lift with 2 stops only. We decided to use the same escalator we have in the subway of Avenida Paulista, because we are trying to reinforce the idea that anyone that took the escalator to the 5th level, where the elevated plaza, should feel like it was already in a public space, or maybe an urban space. For the same reason, we took the former sidewalk pavement of Avenida Paulista, and we remade it, or something inspired by it, on the 5th floor, where we are calling the Plaza of the Institute, which should be the distribution hall. Or maybe we should say it's the actual entrance of the institute. Then we are modeling some situations in the urban environment. In this model, we can see clearly the idea of having this open space in the 5th floor, which should be the entrance, and the escalator where anyone can reach by the escalators, the elevated floor. It's wide open. It was a very tiny plot. We have a real challenge on logistics and construction system. That's why we adopt a very prefabricated system which allowed us to work off the site, because Avenida Paulista is very close to the city center, very intense place. So we decided to work off the site and bring pieces and turn the construction site in an assemblage site. So that's what we have. Look how people worked very happy on the site. It was a very interesting place to work. This is the construction of the 5th floor, where we took the Avenida Paulista's former pavement of the sidewalk. So with the aim to make clear the narrative, the idea that it is a place where the public realm is still on. And those are some pictures of the building when we got ready. It's being accomplished in 1917. And this is Avenida Paulista. This is the escalators, where we can see, while we are going up into the building, we can see the library. We can see the classrooms. We can see the administration of the building. And we finally got to the 5th floor, where we reached the elevated plaza. And now we can see Avenida Paulista again, but now from a high point of view. In this level, we have a cafe and a library. And then the stairs which lead to the exhibit spaces. And this pictures is from the very first exhibition, where we took some steel beams of the construction site and was reused to the exhibition design also. This is the foyer of the movie theater. This is the movie theater, which is also an auditorium, library, administration. Once more, the Piazza, EMS Piazza, looking to Avenida Paulista. Again, escalators and the library, looking from the back of the plot to Avenida Paulista, where we can see the people and buses crossing. Some views in the afternoon. And this is it. And this is the list of people who worked in this building, which is, I mean, it was a small, but very complex construction. Okay. Sorry, I lost myself here in the screens, but now, okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Vinicius. As I was telling you earlier, when we visited Sao Paulo, we loved your building. The call and response from Avenida Paulista, from inside EMS and then leading into your piazza, was just a fabulous experience, and what architects should do for everyone to lift their spirits. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in Sao Paulo in October. So now I would like to introduce Gio Darder and Jason Bauman, with whom I've worked closely to organize this fabulous conference. And so I will let Jason and Gio introduce themselves.
Thank you, Susan. I am co-founder and managing partner at Insight Architecture. We are Swiss-based, and we provide architectural and cultural travel experiences, conferences, and exhibitions in Brazil and other destinations for about a decade. I have also lived in Rio de Janeiro for about 8 years, and I am looking forward to welcome you in Brazil. Gio?
Everyone, and am I unmuted now? Yes? Hello? Well, I'm Gio Darder from Copper Bridge Foundation, founder, and I have the privilege of partnering with Jason from Insight Architects to create this program with the guidance of Susan Chin. And what we'd like to acknowledge is what we bring to this table is the fact that Copper Bridge is known for its cultural exchanges through art. But architecture has served as a big component to our exchange programs. And we are honored not only to work with AIA for the Havana COD, but later on in Chile as well. That was our last program, international program, before the pandemic. And then again, to be able to welcome them again to South America, to Brazil, where I too have lived in Brazil in the early 20s. But what I believe and what I love about this presentation tonight was the fact that you met two of of incredible architects that are just a part of the 20 other plus architects you'll be meeting throughout our program. So if you enjoyed them, can you imagine what you will experience in Sao Paulo, Brasilia, and Rio de Janeiro? And what I'd like to know that we bring to the table, along with Jason's incredible tour experience with these buildings and the execution of it, is the fact that every building that has been created is built for people. And what we, Copper Bridge, and Jason would like to introduce you to is the human component to these buildings, the cultural aspect to this trip. So throughout your program, our mission is to introduce you not only to the architects, but to the people of this beautiful country, Brazil, and to their culture. So please expect throughout your program to have incredible cultural experiences. And I must say that with that said, already, this is my third site trip along with Jason to Brazil. I make every possible excuse to come back because the people are amazing. Their hospitality, incredible. And I see us, American Institute of Architects, as architectural ambassadors meeting their counter architects here in Brazil. So it's about an exchange of experiences and also colleagues. So I'd like to thank already at this particular point, all these people that have actually come forward, like Sasego and Galeria Dadiela and Casa Cor, Bloco Architects, Loja Capon, Suzanne Pontes, Caetana Fanami, all these people that have actually come to help us already to welcome American Institute of Architects, just like Chris and Vinicio have done with open arms. We expect no different from the rest of the population in Brazil who's waiting for us. So again, thank you for the opportunity. I'm so proud to work with Jason on this as well, and Inside Architecture, and we wait for you here in Brazil. Hello?
So I believe that we have a moment for questions and answers. And Marisol, I'd like to actually see everybody on the screen, if that's okay. So that if anybody's raising their hand, that we can see them. Yeah. Vinicius, you have a question?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Some of you may have submitted questions when you registered for the webinar, and then others have sent questions or had contemplated sending questions through the chat. So please don't be shy. It's an opportunity to ask an architectural question or a logistics question of Jason and Gio.
So I have two questions posted here as of now. And one is, which materials do you find yourself drawn to in your work and why? This is to the two architects that came and joined us today.
Great. I could start this. I think, well, maybe, or I guess, or I hope this could be clear at our presentations, but I think each project asks for system or a material or a specific materiality. So I think there is not one material or one construction system, but of course, wooden structures are very, very important, are very interesting now because they are renewable, they are carbon free, they are a possibility of using this with more conscience. So, but I think each project has to answer these questions. It's not done previously. I really believe on this. What do you think, Vinicius?
Well, I would never ever disagree from Chris. especially in public spaces. And of course, I think she's right. And I would just add something. I think in terms of materials that we should use, I think we should consider the theme of industrialization, because I think it has a lot to do with the better conditions of the workers than in the construction side. I believe industrialization allows us, in our experience here, to produce better working conditions than when we are talking on high buildings, for instance, to have people. We have here this in Sao Paulo a lot. People working, hanging on a building like 50, 60 meters above the streets. So I believe industrialization maybe it's a way for achieve better construction sites.
Thank you. And so our next question is, are there any international architects or trends that you find particularly interesting?
Me?
I think that's open for any of you guys. If you guys want to explore more on that topic, I mean, Gio and Jason and Susan, I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of things internationally that would inspire a lot of us that are not as.
Yeah, well, I don't know. In my case, there's so many architects around the world that inspires us. I don't. I don't feel like I'm able to make a list. They are various and they are very different and they are everywhere. But there is something which I really appreciate, which is the vernacular architecture on the hot and humid countries, such as Japan architecture, or Congo in Africa, or Guatemala in Central America. They have a profile of a very light architecture, also built with the. It's interesting because the contemporary vernacular architecture takes a lot of advantage also of the industrialization with wood boards and steel profiles, and you can find it all around the world where you see humid and hot climate with rainforest. We will find very consistent architecture using those kind of material. This is something I really appreciate nowadays. Maybe if you ask me the same question in a few months, I'll give you a completely different answer. But right now, I would go for this.
I guess, and I would follow up, Vinicius, in terms of what those cultures can teach us now with climate change. Is there something that you might incorporate in your practice?
Susan, definitely. I mean, we've been learning from this vernacular and I have to say popular knowledge on architecture and construction, which is very, very committed to the sustainability and bioclimatic performance. Centuries before we invented those terms, those words, and the more I look for, I research on this architecture, the more I am astonished by how somehow all this knowledge was achievable. This was our at our we could reach, but somehow we were not looking at it the way we should. I mean, this is something that is touched me. It's very interesting to think nowadays how this DNA is available all around the world. It's very consistent. It's incredible. And definitely, as you said, it has a big influence on our practice here. I mean, could be more, because sometimes it's difficult to translate and to actually do something like that, but it's been a very important influence.
Or where would you even find craftsmen who can do some of this work? But maybe it's in their nature, right? You talk about that DNA. Chris?
I was wondering, it's difficult because there's a lot of architects and production art that we love and see. But I think for now, I don't know, in this group, I'd like to say that Latin America has a very, very strong production. And maybe I'd like to say some of them that are that became close friends, and I think we always look for their works, and I think you should also do this. And I think they are, like, from Mexico, Gabriela Carrillo, or Coletivo C733, or Mauricio Rocha. They are all amazing. Maybe from Peru, we have this Barclay Cruz. They are also amazing, these guys. And from Colombia, Edgar Mazo from AP Studio. He is great. And or Camilo Restrepo from Agenda. From Paraguay, Solano Benitez, Javier Corvalan, Joseto Cubija, these guys. From Argentina, the Ana Smoot is a young architect. She's great. Ana Smoot or Adamo Faiden, they are also. Even from Uruguay, we have these Gualano and Gualano. My story is just now.
Well, Chris.
I don't know how to turn this off. Oh my God! Here, okay.
Sorry.
I
know.
Real life. Yeah, that's it. At home. That's it. Okay. Dogs.
No,
and everything
you know,
else.
it's so
okay.
great. I think so much
No, I
about
think
architects
there's
in
a
the
great.
global South, the Latin American architects who have been too long unknown to us in the North, and who are Eurocentric or influenced by other cultures, but not so much the global South and Latin America.
Yeah.
So we'll have a big discovery. I'm really looking forward. I hope that we will get your list and of all your influences. And Vinicius, I went to the Quilimbo when I was there in last February to see some of that architecture. And so one won't see all of it, but people will get a taste. And we definitely hope that people will come with us this October, and that people will just be so eager to come back. So, até já, no Brazil. And I don't know that I get my Brazilian Portuguese accent right, but I try. Okay. Ciao. Ciao to you all.
Ciao, até já.
Thank
It's
you
very
all.
good.
If you haven't registered, there's more slots available. Ciao.
Ciao. Thank you, Susan.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.
Ciao,
See you.
everybody. Thank
See
you.
soon.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye
See you soon.
bye. Thank you.